my pleasure to introduce two readers. We'll do them one at a time. Our first reader is Aparna Ganguly. She is a business development manager who lives in San Jose. She's a regular at Live Lit in Frascati on most Thursdays. She blogs and had her third book, Bits and Pieces, published recently. Her short story, Belief, was a bestseller on the Kindle Short Reads. She writes mostly flash fiction and personal essays in English and Bengali. On her blog, she writes, "I like to voice my thoughts over a mic and feel connected to an audience." And in that spirit, I'm happy to introduce Aparna, who's here to connect with us by mic.
Thank you for coming over today, and thanks, Marinda, for letting me go first. Thank you. And what I have to share today is that we should never forget where we came from, our roots, no matter how tall our branches grow. I was born in a small town called Agartala in northeast India in a state called Tripura. It is a luscious green state and receives an average rainfall of about 83 inches, mostly in the month of June and July, the wettest months of the year. And in comparison, San Jose in California receives about 17 inches of rainfall. So you can see it's about 5 times more rain there. Where we have seen droughts and wildfire in California, I've seen the extreme opposite in my hometown, where places like Chandrapur face deluge where there's even the slightest rain. And there are landslides and power cuts. Even in 2018, flash floods marooned at least 3,000 families in Tripura. But the mainstream media does not deem it newsworthy, because the state has just 2 Lok Sabha seats in parliament and the political clout is very little. I wrote a flash fiction imagining the plight of a mother and her daughter caught in the torrential rains. The girl is too young to understand the implications of a devastating flood. The flood. It was the monsoon of 1992. I was in kindergarten. My father was posted in North District while my mother worked, and I went to school in the West District. Indra, the Lord of Rains, was angry, and her tiny state was flooded. A lot of people lost their families, their homes, and their belongings in the deluge that year. We lived in the heart of the capital city in a commercial district. The first thing to rot in the rain was a bag of rice that was our ration for a month. My favorite pink slippers decided to leave the shackles of domestic life and take a voyage around the world. I waved it goodbye, and it jiggled its way through the flood water. What survived was a colossal mahogany cabinet that even the gods could not move. It was 6 feet by 3 feet and smelled distinctly of old seasoned wood. My mother often polished it with wax to make it shine. It was a family heirloom. You don't get wood like that nowadays, she would say. When the rains got worse, some people rowed boats on the streets. With no groceries left, we ate lentils and rice boiled into a lousy excuse for khichdi. But we did not complain. We had each other and the hope that help would reach us if needed. We hoped that the army would arrive in helicopters if the situation did not improve. We felt that the tin roof of our house would give away. We prayed for a respite from the unrelenting showers. Surely, there were other places in the world that needed rain far more than we did. Could they not borrow those monstrous and angry clouds from us? My father was a police officer and he retired as the Additional Deputy General of Police from my state. But he's also a very prolific poet. And I would like to read a poem written by him in Bengali and then translate its essence in English. It's titled, এই রৌদ্রময় প্রান্তর। ক্ষমা করো সচেতন আত্মপ্রেম বাদে প্রিয়তম সুখ, মধ্যরাতে ব্লেড দিয়ে নিজস্ব চামড়ায় রক্তপাত করা ছাড়া অন্য নেশার অসুখ নেই, কারোর পরে রাগ নেই কিংবা অভিযোগ, শুধু এক ধরনের বদ্ধতার অভিমান, হাঁটু ও হাতের আড়ালে ঢাকে চোখ। অভিমান, অবিদ্য কুয়াশাময় অভিমানে দূরত্ব বাড়ালে আমি আত্মমোচনকারী খেলায় মেতেছি। অসংখ্য খণ্ড দুঃখে তৈরি আমার অদীপ্ত প্রাসাদে শির দ্বারায় জ্বালিয়ে রেখেছি সর্বভেদী রৌদ্রের মতো দুঃখবোধ, অভাব এবং সমস্ত পৃথিবীর বিরুদ্ধে ক্রোধ। তাহলেই জেগে থাকা যায়। জেগে থেকেছি, কিন্তু আমার আত্মহননের অধিকার, পাতালের সিংহাসন ও সাম্রাজ্যহীন সম্রাটত্ব নিয়ে জুয়ো খেলার অধিকার আজ অকস্মাৎ শেষ। আজ আবিষ্কার করে ইতোমধ্যে তৈরি করেছি অবাঞ্ছিত চিতাসজ্জা, শুধু আমারই। ছুরিকাবিদ্ধ করেছি শুধু নিজেকে। হঠাৎ এক শহর আলো নিভে গেলে শব্দময় আর্তনাদ জেগে ওঠে। তেমনি আজ অন্ধকারের তীক্ষ্ণতম অনুভব, পরিণতি এই স্বেচ্ছা নির্বাসন, এই দগ্ধ করতল, বিষণ্ণ ট্রেনের মতো অভ্যর্থনাহীন স্টেশন পেরিয়ে যাওয়া। কখনো কখনো মজাকি প্রিয় কারোর ছুঁড়ে মারা থুতু কাদার উপহার। ঈপ্সিত পূর্ণতায় কবে যাব সে প্রশ্ন শুধিও না, দোহাই তোমায়। শুধু জানি সামনে এই রৌদ্রময় প্রান্তর হেঁটে যেতে হবে। So this is how a Bengali script looks like. I don't know if you can see it, but just to give you an idea, and I'll translate it loosely. The sun-kissed meadow. Forgive me, the biggest love of my life, other than conscious self-love, is to gnaw at my skin with a sharp blade at midnight. I have no other addiction. The closed door of ego covers my eyes with hands and knees. Hubris, you say? An impenetrable fog of emotions creates distance, and I indulge more in this game of self-destruction. A million fragments of sadness build my dark palace. My spine burns with a sharp pang of pain. Angry against penury and the whole world, I stay awake, don't I? But the right to self-mutilation, the right to gamble with the throne of a kingdomless hates, comes to an end today. I discovered I have created a funeral pyre. I have pierced myself with a knife. When a city plunges into darkness, sudden screams arise. This shrill sense of darkness, this self-imposed prison, these burnt hands, like an unwelcome and desolate train arrives in an empty station. Sometimes someone gifts me spit and muck in mud. I don't know when I'll reach my desired completeness. Please don't ask me, I beg of you. But I know this, what lies ahead is a sun-kissed meadow, and I have to keep walking. The next piece is something I wrote in a workshop conducted by Lita. She's in the audience today. and it's one of my favorite pieces I wrote with her. And the theme is that survivor guilt is real, and so is the guilt of being successful when others who started with you have failed somewhere. This sentiment is captured in my next piece in a letter from a leaf to her mother. Dear Mom, it has been a while since I last felt your warmth and strength that comforted me during dark, stormy nights. After the gardener had pruned some of our sisters with his gigantic shears, we lay on the ground for hours in the scorching heat. Some of us crumbled and gave up. But Tessa and I kept hoping for a spot of rain. A young woman with purple hair picked us up and took us home. She put us on her writing desk and started sketching details of her anatomy. Occasionally, she touched or smelled us. We were delighted to be there. Everything in the room was purple. The lampshades, the curtains, even little yarn balls that hung from the ceiling. But soon, her art project ended and she threw Tessa away. I did not see her after that. The woman put me in one of her notebooks, and now I live across one of the poems she wrote about love. One day, I saw her weep. Her teardrops fell on a few lines of my neighboring poem and smudged a few words. When she closed the notebook, I got a black stain. But I don't mind. I had seen the woman when she was most vulnerable, and I think it is a privilege. Don't worry about me. I'm living beyond the lifespan of my other siblings who fell to the ground that day. Sometimes it makes me guilty, but I think you'll be happy to know that I survived. Your loving daughter, Passia. All our lives, we look for something. Some people look for success, some look for love. And when they find it, they often forget how miserable they were before they found it. I don't want to forget. In the audience today is my husband of 8 years, who has been with me through thick and thin. And I can say with the great conviction that I'm grateful to have you in my life. And this is a poem from the times I spent hours in the darkness in the hope of meeting you. Before we met, I often wonder who we were before we met. Every dream I had until now, everyone I loved, cherished, desired, seems in the distant past, blurry, unreal. The forms of black smoke gliding over me vanished into the light of the day, but their screams remained, resonating in my emptiness. I held on to it. I held on to it because it is all I had. On nights like this, I walked through the empty halls, rubbing my fingers on the peeling walls. In desperation, I wrote, I believe. 1,000 times over on my body with a black marker. I wanted to believe that a different life was waiting for me. I deserved to be happy. I deserved to be loved. And I deserved to dream a little of you by my side. Women all over the world suffer miscarriages. About 15% to 20% of all women with a verified pregnancy will end up having a miscarriage. That is 1 in every 5 pregnancy. 80% of these miscarriages will occur in the first trimester. Yet, you don't often hear women talking about this loss. For some reason, it is considered a taboo. We need to break the silence around it and reach out to those who suffer like us. A piece of our hearts will always be missing, but there can be healing. To my unborn child, I think of you often. I think you would have been a girl. You would have been smart and kind, intelligent and humorous. You would have stood up for those too weak to stand up for themselves. You would have challenged me when I was wrong. I would have learned new things from you. I would have smiled as I watched you grow, and then we would have become friends. No topic of conversation would have been off limits. It would have hurt to let you go into the world, but I would have prayed for you to find your path, your true calling. Your friends would have loved you for your loyalty and straightforwardness. You would value truth. You would have turned 5 this August, but you were never born. I may have known you only for a few weeks, but I think I have loved you more than I have ever loved anyone else in this world. Thank you.
Thank you, Aparna. Aparna and I met in one of Keiko O'Leary's workshops and shared our hearts.